Now, it is SADS Awareness Week, that is Sudden Arrhythmic Death Syndrome. Every week in the UK, 12 people under the age of 35 die of sudden cardiac arrest. Early intervention means that the chances of surviving cardiac arrest are trebled, and we are joined live now by a rugby legend, England World Cup winning captain Martin Johnson. Martin, good morning to you. So great to have you on. You're a patron of the Joe Humphries Memorial Trust. Tell us about why that was set up and what it hopes to achieve.
Well, like a lot of these trusts, it was set up in tragedy. Joe was 14 years old, went out for a run and never came home. He suffered sudden cardiac arrest on the street. He wasn't found quickly enough for intervention to take place and save him. And Joe's family set up the trust on the back of that to raise awareness. And there's lots of these trusts and foundations around the country that have been set up and born out of tragedy. I think we're all aware of the Christian Eriksen situation in the summer, and that sudden cardiac arrest. The fortunate thing for Eriksen was it happened in a very public place. He had the medical team right there. He had people around him who knew what to do, and that's the vital thing. So what we're all saying is, you need to be aware this can happen. You need to be aware that you could be watching your 14-year-old son, daughter, 16-year-old, whatever, playing sport, their teammates or your children, and they could have a sudden cardiac arrest. There could be no symptoms. There could be no history. And it can just happen. And what are you going to do if that occurs? Do you know where the nearest defibrillator is? Can you administer CPR? And if you can't, you'll ring 999 and you'll be praying that they're there quickly enough to save the person involved. So what we're saying is everyone should learn CPR. Everyone should be aware of this. It's not a freak occurrence. I think the disappointing thing for me is when it happens with Eriksen, it's portrayed as a completely freak occurrence and a miracle that he survived. Well, it's not a miracle he survived. He survived because he had people around him who knew what to do. They're medically trained and they carry a defibrillator for a reason. They didn't just happen to have it by chance. They have it because these things can happen. So the campaign is pretty simple and the message is simple. This can happen to perfectly healthy people who've shown no symptoms of it. It can happen out of the blue, and that's exactly how it occurs, with no warning. Suddenly someone's on the floor and their heart stopped. And that moment, every second, is vital. And what are you going to do to help them? If you don't know CPR, you'll be ringing 999 and hoping they can get there quickly enough. Invariably, you're at the mercy of situation and circumstance in that situation. So everyone needs to know CPR. Everyone needs to be comfortable with a defibrillator and ideally have one to hand as quickly as possible. You can go on. You can learn CPR. It's simple to learn. It's not. You don't have to go on a day-long course, or you can go on the UK coaching website, ukcoaching.org. They have a electronic e-learning facility there that they did last year, which is fantastic. But you just need to take the time. You need to. Everyone's busy, and I understand that, and we can easily put this off. But think about this: you could be watching a game this weekend, tomorrow, today. If someone goes down with a sudden, cardiac arrest, their heart stops, they're technically dead. What are you going to do?
It's incredibly scary hearing what you've just said there. And a lot of people are scared about the use of a defibrillator, thinking, I don't know how to do it. We actually had a guest on over the summer who showed us how to do it. And actually, there's very simple steps, isn't there? It's about, if there is a defibrillator close by, it kind of talks you through how to do it. It's nothing to be scared of, is it? Actually opening a defibrillator and working out how to use it, because there are simple steps.
Yeah, it is, and you're right. The whole conversation is difficult because it's so horrific. I think the natural thing is to think, well, what happened to me? What happened to my kids? We'll be okay. And the chances are you're right. That is, the odds are that you will be right. But the odds are everyone's got a story. I've been talking about it this morning, and phone calls flooding in. A lady had to do CPR to her daughter 5 weeks ago, who was 16 years old. So you're right. A defibrillator, you could actually use one. If you could keep calm, it would probably talk you through it, and you'd be able to use it without being familiar with it. But in the shock of it happening, it's a horrible thing. The shock to see someone collapse is horrible. If you've done some training, it does kick in, and it's not a lot of your time, and it gives you the skills to improve people's chances of survival. If they get immediate treatment, they treble. The odds and the percentages are huge. So it's something that is not CPR is not difficult. It's quite physical, but it's not difficult. It's not rocket science. But you just need to do the training, and that will kick in that situation. And you will go, right, this is what we've talked about, this is what we've thought about, and now we have to do it. We hope you never have to do it, and you never have to use your defibrillator, but we know it will happen, and we need people who are trained and ready to help.
We are going to talk rugby, obviously, because we're talking to you, but just before that, can you just, you mentioned where someone can go to find out more about CPR. Can you just repeat that for anyone?
Yeah, I mean, on the internet, there's loads of resource, but UK Coaching have done a great e-learning toolkit, they call it. It's on ukcoaching.org. Go and have a look at it. Even watching that, going through that and give yourself 10 minutes is a lot better than doing nothing.
Thanks for that, Martin, and it's absolutely brilliant what you're doing here and raising awareness of this, something that everybody should be more aware of. We are going to talk England. Where are they right now? It's 2 years until the World Cup. We're looking forward to it already. How do you assess their chances at this stage?
I think they're in an interesting place. They've still got a very experienced squad of guys who are young enough to be there in 2 years' time. There's some young guys coming through, so I think hopefully they've got a very, very exciting squad with some guys trying to prove themselves, get an opportunity to get into the team, and other guys trying to stay there hopefully and say no, we've got one more shot at trying to win a World Cup. So for the coaches, obviously them is just picking the right balance of players, the right blend to give guys an opportunity, but also you've got to keep on winning. You can't sacrifice results, for the future too much. You need to keep on winning, or get back to winning in England's case.
That's the thing, because they did come runners-up in the last World Cup in 2019, but then really struggled in the Six Nations. So are they actually on the right track, or are they going backwards?
Well, we'll see. I mean, there's very poor Six Nations. Obviously, there's lots of circumstance around that. This November is their chance for, whoever gets to start the game is to say, look, I want to be there in 2 years' time. I want to nail down my position. Ideally, for a coach, Eddie, he'll want a squad where he's got 2 or 3 choices in each position. You never get that. You very rarely have that where you've got top world-class players in that depth. But the more you can have, the better. And it's up to the players. It's up to the players to say, hey, I'm ready to go. You need to pick me, and be in such good form that he can't not pick you.
Martin, what you're doing is absolutely fantastic, and we really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
And yours. Thank you very much.